The following broadcast is a production of HCCTV.
Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
Hi, I'm George Luna.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm Frank Cooper.
And we are
The Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are back here at the Main Street Studios here in Houston, Texas, and we've returned to do a video podcast.
To complete.
Yeah, we're here to complete The Boys, the series The Boys, the Amazon Prime series. I don't think I think y'all are reaching for that one, but that's probably part of it too, what you're laughing about.
Yeah.
Complete.
Yeah. So, anyway.
We're immature. It's okay.
It's been a while since we've been in front of the camera.
Not a good start. So we're going to talk about the final 3 episodes of The Boys. We left off. We were doing it episode by episode. We did 5 episodes, and then we stopped for about a month. And now we're going to do something that only we can do. Yes. Only the Watchers in the Basement can do this. So let's go. Let's start. I'm thrown off by the opening, but I'm getting it back.
We have to get back into our groove. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Bear with us. Thank you for watching and listening to us as we, spiel.
Waste your time. So the first episode we're talking about is season 1, episode 6. It's called The Innocents. George, if you wouldn't mind reading the synopsis for this.
All right. Super in America. Vought produces a video to craft a more.
We are professionals.
Very professional. This show is because we haven't done this show in forever, and it's taken us a while to get our rhythm back. So give me a second. Vought produces a video to craft a more endearing public image for superheroes.
Yeah, the video it's very like PR-ish, of course.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of funny aspects, but they're unintentionally funny. And I can't remember exactly what it opens on, but there's a scene where Homelander, he's going through this home that's not his childhood home.
Yeah.
But he's pretending like it is. And he's talking about how, Mom used to play the piano here all the time. And, here's my room, also known as the Baseball Hall of Fame. And he's got baseball stuff everywhere. And then, he sees this blanket on his supposed childhood bed, and he, freaks out.
Yep.
They have to cut.
Someone gets fired.
Yeah, someone gets fired because it's blanket. Obviously, he's attached to some blanket. It kind of seems like he's from some other planet or whatever. Whenever he was a child, he had his blanket or his whoopee for you Mr. Mom fans out there.
I love Mr. Mom.
It's actually a TV series now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like on IMDb or something. It's a limited kind of deal.
Okay.
I haven't watched it, but
It kind of briefly reminded me of Linus from Charlie Brown, the Peanuts, with the attachment to a blanket, a blue blanket at that. So, yeah.
So what y'all think about the whole shoot of this? There's different. They go to each character and they kind of shoot their kind of background or what they're doing, and what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, because up to this point we don't know much about Homelander. We don't know if he's one of the superheroes that originally had his powers to begin with, or we don't know where he came from. So it kind of gives you an inside view of the beginning of okay, his origin story is coming up. But he's a very strange character. He's the picture of this Captain America figure of hope and peace and tranquility, and then he goes on this rampage on the set. So it really caught my attention. What's to come?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of like this, like what you're saying, wholesome, all-American, good boy, that kind of thing. And as soon as the camera is off, it's like he turns into the person who he really is. But that even goes to show for the rest of the supers that they're showcasing for this reality TV show. Or I think the whole purpose of this is to market them that they should be in the military, but it's kind of more, like I said, reality TV.
Supposed to make them relatable to people.
Yeah. Because we see that with the Deep. He's showing CPR to lifeguards and Black Noir, which I think was interesting with his thing. It was this very peaceful, centric, meditating kind of thing, which we still don't know anything about Black Noir.
Who has not said a word yet.
Nope, not
So,
to this moment. So,
yeah.
what do you think, George?
I think like the videos that they were trying to make are just like those corporate boring videos and just seems so fake to me. So just to see, and then you see his reaction and how he freaks out, and we know like it definitely has a connection to his childhood, which was probably not good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just all those videos seem like super fake, and they're just trying to get the public on their side to get them to go to the military.
To your point about, you know, this very corporate, you know, S type thing, when they were talking to A-Train about his upbringing, and he said, you know, his dad had died, it was just his mom and his older brother and what have you. And then he talked a little bit about gang violence, and the PR person was trying to say, let's cut that out and make it a little bit more upbeat. Just saying, when you censor someone's truth, it doesn't go over very well. Just saying. I just like to throw that in.
That's a good view, because I didn't. When I heard that, I was like, man, like these guys are really being controlled. Like as powerful as they are, they're really being controlled by this company.
Yep.
I mean, like, and it makes you wonder, like, what did this company have holding over these guys' heads? Because like we said before, Justin, these guys can just take over the world if they really wanted to, or just leave and just go rogue. But yeah, it makes you question.
Yeah. George mentioned something a second ago about how you know, these videos, they come off very fake.
Yeah.
But the one who's not fake, who's actually not in the video, is Starlight. So in the previous episode, she was at this religious festival. I can't remember what it was called.
The Believe.
The Believe
Believe
Expo.
Expo.
There we go.
Yeah.
And she gave this speech. She went off prompter and explained that, you know,
She spoke her truth.
yeah, she spoke her truth. And because of that, she got somebody fired.
Yeah.
So Ashley, her PR person, was fired, and she learns this. She goes to Vought to see what's up, and then Annie, Starlight, has a meeting with Madeline Stillwell. They talk about how, you know, you need to conform to this image, and she's like, no, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do whatever I used to do, and I'm just going to be a superhero. And,
Absolutely.
and Stillwell's like, no, you're not. You're going to follow our rules. And then she says, well, you know, I don't think you want to tell me what to do when I just told the world that someone sexually assaulted me, and I think you know who it is. So the
Good
next
for
thing
her
we
for
see,
standing her ground.
Yeah, the next thing we see is Stillwell goes to talk to the Deep. Of course, he's the one who Annie's talking about, because that happened in the first episode of the series, and so. She asked him to publicly apologize, which that's also kind of a funny scene where he's like trying to work on his like, it's you know, he's with his camera crew and he's trying to figure out what to say, and you know, he's just
He's struggling with it because he doesn't like sincerely mean it. I don't think, even though he's asking for her forgiveness, and because of his poor decision making, he's being sent away to Sandusky, Ohio, for a sabbatical, quote unquote. And that's what you
Of all
get.
places.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
We'll learn more about that in the next episode.
Yeah,
we
very
will.
much so.
Very much so. But before all this, too, the boys are talking about the super charity led by Ezekiel, and how the Compound V has been moved for many years since 1971, but they're disguising it as polio vaccine. So with that information, they want to take it to the CIA, to Deputy Director Rayner. And Butcher is trying to kind of persuade Huey also to not trust Starlight. George, you want to explain that scene with the collateral damage survivor support group?
That was such an awkward scene. So we see a recognizable face there.
Yes.
It's one of the marketing or PR guys from Vought that was introduced to Starlight. Then he showed her the dress, right? I think.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that guy was in there, and it was just an awkward conversation. It kind of opens up with him talking about his story, and then basically the whole thing is they wanted Butcher to kind of open up and talk about what happened to him and his experiences. But I think all that is kind of like overshadowed from this guy talking about his experience and with what was her name?
Ice Princess.
The Ice Princess.
She's basically the ice man of this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
He
was having relations, and something unfortunate happened to him. What happened to him, Frank?
In negative 346
his
degree.
manhood snapped off at negative 300 some degrees because when they were having relations, when she came to
changed
a
to-
conclusion, she froze,
Yeah.
and while she froze, he was still there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it snapped off. So,
Yeah, but Butcher basically is trying to show Huey that, you know, these people have an unhealthy, like, still admiration for these supers,
Yeah.
even though bad things have happened to them. And not Huey, but Butcher's trying to say, like, you all should be fighting for justice, like, you know, get mad about this, you know, don't accept them, accept this, you know.
But it's funny when he said that. I mean, I don't know much about Ice Princess. I don't think neither one of us
No.
do. But like, it didn't seem like she was a bad guy. She just
An
had a
unfortunate
moment.
event.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate event of her, and the unfortunate event caused, you know, an appendage to come off. So I mean,
Yeah.
What an unfortunate
yeah.
appendage it was.
So,
Froze
yeah.
up, yeah. But we finally learn the truth about Butcher's real motives, why he hates the superhero so much. And he Butcher tells Huey in the exact same spot where Becca, his wife, was last seen in a park, that 8 years ago Homelander raped his wife. And
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And she went missing shortly thereafter. What's going on with the boys, though? What's going on with Frenchie
So
and
the
Eminem?
boys, they're looking to, they're trying to communicate with the female, and they're finding it tough. Only Frenchie kind of get through to her.
Yeah.
So they decide to go to this guy, this former superhero. There's kind of superhero. His name's Mesmer. He's played by Haley Joel Osment, the Dead People kid. He's back.
This was actually kind of fitting because
this makes sense.
he sees dead people.
Yeah. So basically, he's a telepath. If you come in contact with him, if it's any skin-to-skin contact, he can kind of read your mind or see what's
In your brain.
past or
Yeah.
future.
Anything.
Yeah, he can read people.
So they recruit this guy, and the way they do that is knows that Mesmer has a child,
Yep.
his daughter. He doesn't get to see very very often, or if at all. And so basically, he negotiates. He's like, "You're going to help me. You're going to help us,
Yeah.
and I can set up with social workers, and you can see your daughter,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, an hour a week or something supervised." So Mesmer meets the female, and while he's reading her palm or whatever, holding her hand, she loses it and snaps his wrist.
I
Right?
laughed so hard.
Yeah.
You are such
It
a
was
unusual
funny. I know.
person.
It was
She's-
hilarious.
she's-
Because I didn't expect it. I
He
didn't see it. I
finds-
didn't see it coming.
he finds humor in someone else's pain.
You're starting to scare me,
Yeah, I
bro.
know you kind of are.
Sorry, guys.
The
It's
death of the
funny.
dolphin,
That was funny.
the person in Game of Thrones that was killed by the bell.
The bell,
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Can I switch places with someone? Frank?
Brittany
Oh,
falls
man.
on set or something.
Oh my gosh. That sounds about right.
The reason why she's able to snap his wrist is because, as we've learned before, she's superpowered. She was injected with the compound V. And so he gives it another shot, uses his other hand, and this time he learns that she was kidnapped along with her brother. They were part of this
Like a
this
rebel.
terrorist group,
Yeah.
the Shining Light Liberation Army. And then we also learn her name is Kimiko. So she's not just called the female anymore. She actually has a name.
So I have a quick question. So she was kidnapped to be a part of this terrorist group, but it wasn't until she came to the States that she was injected with Compound V, or was she injected with Compound V while she was part of this terrorist group?
I think she was injected there. Maybe it's
Okay.
hard to say.
Okay.
It's really hard to say.
Yeah, because they wanted to use it for propaganda purposes, right? To
Yeah.
make it seem like the world's under attack by this terrorist group. So they superpower a lot of these humans.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. Okay, because I'm not like quite clear on it, but you know, more will be revealed in the next episode. Stillwell is being brought in by the CIA because I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, but Butcher tells Rayner about what they found with Compound V. He's trying to create these terms to be met, and one of them is about Homelander. That he'll be, brought to justice at the full extent of the law. And Rayner's like, I can give you everything on this list, but Homelander. And Butcher decides, hey, you're not getting that Compound V, which is a huge mistake. most likely. But then something happens with Mesmer. Mesmer kind of double crosses the
snitch.
boys. He's a snitch. You snitched on Nathan last audio episode, so why don't you snitch
What'd I
on
do?
Mesmer? Blamed him for not recording when we were
Oh.
talking for 25 minutes.
Oh, nice. I forgot about that.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
Snitches. End up in ditches.
Oh my gosh.
But Mesmer goes and snitches on the boys to Homelander and has surveillance photos. And, Huey and Annie are getting kind of close. They have a little date. Butcher finds out. And Butcher pretty much feels that Huey's turning against the boys and fraternizing with the enemy.
Or so he thinks.
So he thinks.
And scene. So
And
now we're going to go
scene.
to the next episode.
Yeah.
The 7th episode of The Boys. It's titled The Self-Preservation Society. George, if you wouldn't mind doing the honors, give us the quick synopsis.
Let's try this again.
Take your time.
Never trust a washed up soup. The boys learn this lesson the hard way. Meanwhile, Homelander digs into his past. Starlight discovers that love hurts. And if you're ever in Sandusky, Ohio, and asks
And a girl.
and a girl asks if she can touch your gills, say no. Did you write this?
No. Once again,
This is from Amazon.
Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're quite talented.
Yeah.
So,
these are good.
anyone here have gills? Anyone? Anyone?
No,
Anyone?
not that I know of.
Nathan?
Nathan
You?
might.
Nathan have gills?
Yeah, he's saying yes.
No. Darn. Okay.
So this episode, again, I'm not sure if this is exactly how it begins, but Butcher has a flashback to Christmas 8 years ago.
Yep.
And he's at a Vought party because his wife works for Vought. She's in social media marketing,
Yep.
stuff that we would know nothing about. And maybe communications too. Again, not familiar with that, but I can read. So anyway, they're at this party and she meets, they meet Homelander for the
Yep.
first time. And or, I don't know if it's the first time for her, but it's the first time for Butcher to meet
I think so,
Homelander.
because she was a little starstruck.
Yeah.
A little starstruck.
So Homelander comes up and he, introduces himself to them and says, "Hey, I loved your work. Like you did a Twitter takeover or a social media takeover for
Campaign
me."
for him.
And he's like, "I'd love for you to work on all my social media stuff." And she's like thrilled. And at this time, we also see that Homelander is with Queen Maeve.
At the time,
they're
yeah.
kind of together in this moment. But this shows you the Butcher the first time he ever saw Homelander in person. I
Right.
assume that's the whole point of that. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, from there, the next scene is Huey and Annie are in a hotel room. They're having sex. They're talking afterwards about. She's saying, "Hey, like, why don't you? Like, this was nice, but why are we in a hotel room? Like, why didn't you take me to your home?" And he's,
Didn't her eyes flutter or like?
Yeah.
Glimmer?
yeah.
They got
It seems
bright.
like there's a correlation between
Yeah.
superheroes when they
Climax.
come to conclusion,
Yeah, to conclusion.
as
Yeah.
Frank
Oh.
said.
Come to conclusion. Oh.
She has beautiful eyes, by the way. That's the first time I actually noticed her eyes was in that scene.
She's got dark brown
when they
eyes.
were lit up in like fake yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very
Yeah.
beautiful. I must say.
They weren't real at that point.
Oh.
FYI.
Frank doesn't care.
Real to me. Darn
Okay.
it.
Okay, so anyway, she asks, "Hey, why aren't you? Why can't I meet your dad? Why can't I be at your place?" And he basically says, "Hey, like, I live with my dad. First of all, like, it's not cool, and I just quit my job, and so things have been bad for me. So that's why I don't really talk about what's going on."
Yeah.
So that seems to work just fine for the moment. The next part we get to is the Deep is now in Sandusky, Ohio, and he's meeting with the person. There's a Vought representative there, and this person's like kind of showing him around, and
Yeah.
he's telling him, he's like, "Hey, we have one of the biggest water parks, or we have one of the biggest roller coasters in the country, or
Yeah.
whatever." And he's
Lake
we even,
Erie is here if you want to go for a swim.
yeah,
and
we even have a Dairy Queen,
like lizards and stuff.
which is funny, and you can tell like right away the Deep is not feeling it. Like
No,
it's just
he's not.
Well, it's
he's
Ohio.
I know he's used to being in New York City. Now he's in this small town,
Yeah.
and
But he's going to utilize his time because he's going to go and write his memoir.
yeah, and this is actually the only part of this show that I did not like ever was this part. And the reason why is the Deep, he's bummed out that he's in Sandusky, Ohio, and they use a song by Air Supply. And it's the same song that Deadpool 2 uses in the opening.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like, you're ripping off a joke. And like, that's like,
Yeah.
Deadpool did it way better. Like, don't do that. Like, that's the only thing about the show I did not like. Like, Deadpool just did it way better. It's funnier how they do it. Like, you could have used any other like sad, sappy song, which later on they used an REM song, kind of in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And it works fine. I'm like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
That's the only question about the whole show. So, just music.
Other than that, perfect.
It's a perfect show besides that one thing. So 99% for my Rotten Tomato review.
So
whatever.
you're okay with the scene where he brings a fan to his apartment?
Yeah, it's a good scene.
It's a good scene. It was kind of rough to watch, actually.
That was so weird.
It
Yeah.
was really weird.
After a while, I thought he enjoyed it though.
I don't
It
think he
seemed
did.
like he did.
I don't think he got. I don't think
I
he
mean,
did it at all.
she enjoyed it.
Yeah. So
And then,
She
then why did
enjoyed
he keep? Why did he keep doing it?
Because he
Because he felt bad for what happened
No,
to Starlight?
No,
I
I
think-
really think he felt like he had no control. I really think he was in such.
It's like the
distraught.
tables have turned.
Yeah, he becomes
He
the
sexually
victim.
harassed and assaulted
Yeah.
a female. Now the female is turning around and doing that to
Yeah.
him.
And so this girl, she puts her. He has gills on his chest or side,
Yeah.
and she puts her fingers in his gills, and he does not like it. She does like it.
She does like it.
And,
She really likes it.
yeah, and so it's kind of like it's sort of like meant to be like a rape scene, sort of
Yeah.
for him, his perspective. So
I just think because the fact in the very first episode he did what he did to Starlight, he forced himself upon her, and
Right.
this woman's forcing herself upon him as well.
Right.
So you know what? You get it.
Yeah.
You get what you deserved.
yeah,
Those gills are gross.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was really
God.
weird.
That was a weird.
Yeah,
That's really
never-
weird.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So because Mesmer has outed the boys to Homelander, Homelander calls a meeting with Black Noir, Queen Maeve, Starlight, and A-Train, and basically reveals to everyone that Huey is the person who killed Translucent. And Starlight is very taken aback. She's very like, oh my gosh, there's no way possible he could have done this. Like, he's just not that kind of person. And there's one part in this whole scene where A-Train kind of turns on her and is like you B-word. It was just kind of just like a funny, I don't know, it was just a really funny thing. But it's like Homelander's going in on Starlight, and Queen Maeve unexpectedly kind of comes to her rescue,
Defense, yeah.
to her defense, and
Yeah.
says like she genuinely didn't know about this. Otherwise, why would she be reacting like this?
Yeah.
And Homelander is he's just going in. He's just being Homelander. He's not that all-American boy that this TV show is gonna make him seem to be. He's a jerk.
But I wonder if that was a scare tactic by Homelander. I wonder if he already knew that he was just doing that just to scare her, but not. If he was really gonna do anything to punish her.
Probably just to scare him.
Yeah,
I
that's,
don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Because he was getting pretty mad.
He was, yeah.
He got mad at her like 2-3 times. And
Yeah.
each time he was more kind of angry and violent.
But
his eyes lit up, and it wasn't
Yeah.
because of any kind of completion or anything. that we know of.
That was a good one. How do you know?
So, but okay, real question though. So, were his fake red eyes as nice as her?
that's good. That's
fake
good.
yellow
That's good.
eyes?
That was good.
That's good.
Did you like his fake red eyes or her fake yellow eyes better?
You ponder on that. We'll be moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
But-
Not a real question, by the way. That was a joke. So,
Moving on.
Oh, I didn't think it's a joke. I
There's-
was really pondering that. but-
There's a lot of red in this next scene that deals with Butcher and Mesmer.
well, actually, before that though, there's something that happened.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
So, in the scene where Homelander is telling all the other 7, or what's left of the 7, the 5, or whatever you want to say, because Translucent's in the deep, or
They're out.
there.
They're out.
So, while he's doing that, he's showing pictures because Mesmer got pictures of everyone who came, all the boys.
Yeah.
He got photos of Butcher, he got a photo of Huey, he got a photo of Frenchie, all of them.
Yep.
He puts them up on the board and they all see them. And A-Train goes, "Oh, I know that guy." Like talking about Huey. He's like, I've seen that guy. Then
Yeah.
that's when everyone learns that, yeah, the reason why A-Train knows that guy is because he ran through Robin, who was, Huey's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And
Huey
so,
met him to get the apology.
Right.
He
At
also
Vought.
encountered him at Pop Claw's apartment with
Right.
MM. So yeah, he's seen him a couple
Right.
times.
So now A-Train knows what Huey's up to.
Yeah.
So A-Train visits Huey's home. So Starlight didn't get to go meet Huey's dad, but A-Train did. Met the dad. He calls Huey from his phone, from his dad's phone, and threatens him to say, "Hey, like you better get here right now, or I'm gonna kill your dad." And so he's like, "And don't bring anybody with you. Don't do anything stupid. Just you alone."
I do want to say really quick that A-Train is also not in the best of health because of all the consumption of the compound V.
Compound V,
His heart
yeah.
is enlarging. He's not as fast as he used to be,
Right.
and like his bone density is just like he's crumbling. He's crumbling.
Right.
So that will come into effect.
Which is very interesting because like the other 7 don't take compound V
Regularly.
regularly. He's the only one that does.
Yeah. But you see what it's doing to his
Yeah.
body.
I don't get that.
I don't get that either.
Well,
If they were
it's
pumped up with it like as babies,
why would you need
why
more?
would you need that?
Cause like unless A-Train speed fades away if he doesn't re-up, but like
Yeah.
nobody else's power fades away
Exactly.
when they don't re-up. So
That kind
Well,
of confuses
the
me.
moral of
there.
the story is don't do drugs.
yeah.
We don't know about the other ones if they were all created in a lab or if they're from some other plant. Like Queen Maeve might be from some other place. We don't know.
That's
that.
true.
That's true,
That's
too.
never
That's
explained.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The deep, who knows? Like
But from what we know, it seems like they're all
right?
from this.
Yeah,
From
Maybe.
from the compound.
maybe so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Yeah,
see.
I don't know why his power fades. I don't know if because speed is just like a thing for the youth anyway. Like the fastest man in the world is never like a 38-year-old guy. It's usually someone who's 22 or something.
That's
It's
true.
never gonna be like
Except for what's his name, the Olympic runner. Can't think of his name. But anyway.
Carl Lewis or something.
No. Someone
Ben
else.
Johnson
Someone
or-
more recent. But-
Usain Bolt.
Yes.
Bolt.
Yeah.
He's a little bit older.
Yeah,
but
he's
still,
31 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not super old.
Yes.
Um,
So getting back onto
Right.
this. So A-Train
right. So, and this is how they realize that Mesmer has
screw them over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, Huey, he goes to his home. He brings Compound V with him to tell A-Train, like, hey, like, let him go, and I'll let you have this vial of Compound V. And A-Train kind of falls for it. And just when he's, like, about to kill Huey, and he explained to Huey how dumb he was not to bring somebody, bam, Kamiko shows up, snaps his leg, like, pretty severely.
Yep.
She hits him with, I don't know what she hits him
It
with.
looked like a wrench or something.
She had like
Okay,
a she had a
something like
pipe
that.
or something,
Yeah.
like something.
She got him good, and like his
Ooh.
leg, the bone
The bone
sticking out of his
snapped.
leg, it's a nasty looking.
And because of the compound V consumption, it's deteriorating him, and I
Right.
think that's probably the reason why. Granted, she's super strong.
Right.
But one thing A-Train did say to Huey, and I think it struck a chord, was that when A-Train killed Robin, it was an accident, and he blames Huey for Popclaw's death because
Right.
he you know
He feels like he had to kill her because of what
Yeah.
Huey put in motion.
exactly.
But if he doesn't kill Robin, Huey doesn't even know about it. And
It never happens.
This is
Never-
true.
It's never happened.
This
It's still
is true.
his fault.
It's still his fault.
Yeah. So
Just like Mesmer for outing the boys.
right.
That too.
Yeah.
George, you want to talk about that scene with Butcher and Mesmer?
That was brutal. And they go into this restroom, and Butcher's gonna have a talk with Mesmer or whatever it seems like.
Having
and
a good
then-
growler.
And then he found out what happened, and just a growler.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Because Mesmer's locked up in a bathroom stall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He follows him in there. It's not going to be a conversation.
It's not a
Because
conversation.
they're like an airport, and they eye each other. Mesmer starts running.
Yeah.
Butcher
Yeah.
follows.
Yeah.
They end up in a restroom, and then
Right.
But I thought he was gonna like talk to him and like see where it goes. I didn't think he'd do it there. Like
He already
in
knew
that
though.
place.
Oh, he already
He already knew. He already
Well,
knew.
he had warned the boys before. He's like, "Why'd y'all go to this guy? How can you
Yeah.
trust him? He's a soup. Like
Yep.
he's a former soup. Like
Yeah.
he was friends with
Well, he
A-Train.
was right the whole time.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
And then he brutally beat him down on the sink and just.
Oof.
Yeah.
That was a graphic scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mesmer did try to like, with
Yeah,
with-
read his
him
mind
every
while
time.
he was
Every
punching
time,
him.
yeah, Butcher punched him.
That
and
worked
you
out
see
great.
flashes about Becca. Oh, I can help you find her. I only
Yeah.
I can do it, and what have you. And then Butcher, puts his hands on
Yeah.
Mesmer and really shows like this is what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do to you. So
Yeah. So after Butcher kills Mesmer, we
He
have
gone.
we have another flashback. Yeah, he gone. We have another flashback for Butcher, and this time it's a flashback to we meet Grace Mallory for the first time. She's a CIA agent she was the originator of the boys in a way. She was the one who was trying to bring down the soups before
Yep.
Butcher knew about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so she knows that Butcher's wife is missing after this encounter with Homelander. And so she shows Butcher this video that shows
Homelander.
Butcher's wife going into this room with Homelander, like I guess they're at Vought or something, and they're in there for 3 hours. It definitely is implied that they have some kind of sexual relations, yeah, some kind of contact. And so Mallory kind of gets Butcher fired up, like this is what happened to your wife. Like we don't know if Homelander killed her or if she died. She killed herself, but this is the last time we saw her or whatever.
Right.
And so what are you going to do about it? So she kind of is the one who set him on this path.
But that path is also curious to Homelander because Homelander is wondering what happened to Becca. He goes to Stillwell and says, "Hey, do you remember this girl? She worked here about 8 years ago." And she's kind of weird about it. She's like, "Oh, I just thought she quit." Like, "Oh, well, she's missing." "Oh, okay. Hey, why don't we order in tonight?" It was like a really weird conversation. But Homelander pursues this inquiry about Becca and goes to see a Vought scientist, Dr. Vogelbaum.
Which is weird that he will wait until that point to ask about Becca after 8 years has surpassed. Want to ask about Becca after.
But it also goes to show that like supers don't really care about anyone but themselves.
Yeah.
He only thought of her because he saw Butcher's face and he remembered.
Yes.
That's the guy that
I've talked
I met.
to him before.
That's the guy I saw at the track event weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like same deal.
Frank, you want to talk about the conversation with Dr. Vogelbaum and Homelander when he goes to the house?
When he goes to the house.
Yeah.
So Vogelbaum was a former scientist of Vought, and he had a hand in creating I'm guessing the compound B and fusing it with the babies, whatever. So he goes there to find more answers, and this is where we find out that all the memories that was embedded in Homelander's mind was all fake. It was a fake home, fake parents. He was really fused with compound B.
He was a lab child.
Yeah.
I mean, because we did see him in a scene with the blanket. He's a little boy.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a, what do you call it?
Glass, like a
two-way mirror.
two-way mirror.
Right, but I'm talking about what was on the wall with like the cutout, like when you're shooting practice.
Yeah.
Target practice, thank you.
Target,
And it looks like there's, what would have been his light beams and what have you.
But it looks like they was training him to be a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, they were trying to normalize him and try to give him a childhood while at the same time developing him to be the number one, guy.
Right.
So.
But Dr. Vogelbaum does explain about how Becca came to Stillwell with a peculiar, health condition, and that she was pregnant with Homelander's child, whom he didn't know he could have children.
Right.
And ultimately, it led to both her death and the baby's death. And Vought basically just covered it up. And when Homelander's questioning about, all this stuff, Vogelbaum basically expresses his regret about having raised Homelander in a lab. And one thing I will point out, saying that for subjects who were raised without a mother, they turn into violent, aggressive, hateful people. And Homelander's like, well, I'm none of that. I'm the greatest superhero of all time.
Right.
So.
But then Vogelbaum says, you're my greatest failure.
Yes, he does.
Which, man,
that
hit
chord.
me like, Lord.
Yeah.
So now they've got this information about Compound V. So Butcher takes this to Raynor and asks her to protect Huey's families and Mother's Milk's family in exchange for the evidence he's going to turn over.
Yep.
So then she meets with Stillwell. They charge Stillwell and Vought with this, conspiracy to, you've been creating these superheroes. You told us these people were chosen by God, but actually y'all been creating them in the lab for years. And it looks like she really has, she's about to nail Stillwell with this case. And in the middle of it, she gets a message on her phone or something. She steps away. This is Raynor. She steps out of the room, and she's into this, kind of, CIA kind of studio. Surveillance area.
Yeah.
And they're showing her how there's this superhuman terrorist. His name is Nakib, which means captain. And so he's supposedly the leader of these super terrorists. And so she immediately goes, oh, they're creating soup terrorists. So they're basically ensuring that they're needed by the military, because who can stop a soup terrorist? A soup.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
So we learn about that. He looks pretty cool. He's got some lit up thing on his chest, and he can walk through fire, and he looks like he's like Superman. But
it almost seems like he's maybe like a Starlight equivalent, because she can project, light and whatever out of her body, and he seems to do the same.
Yeah.
So we'll
And-
see.
And speaking of Starlight, so she goes to talk to Huey about this. She hasn't talked to Huey since she found out that he had
Killed.
Start
killed
translucent.
Translucent, was involved in this. He'd been calling her. She wasn't answering his calls. So finally they meet. She's like, I have to meet. I have to talk to you in person. Huey meets with her and explains to her, like, look, like, you know, you think you were born with these powers, but you weren't. Vought
Right.
pumped these things in you when you were a little kid. And
Right.
and your mom and dad were all a part of this decision and all that kind of stuff. And so they're discussing this, and he's telling her, he's like, but you know, you can help us. You can, you know,
Yeah.
we're friends. Like, you know, you mean something to me.
Yeah.
And he looks up at her, and like right on her chest is a red dot. Boom! She gets shot by Butcher. Butcher's, you know, Butcher who told Huey in the previous episode or earlier in this episode, like, you don't need to get associated with a soup.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
They're all the same.
And basically his goal is to kill all of them.
Yeah.
And so he shoots her a couple times. She survives the shots,
Yeah,
so you can
nothing
tell.
happened.
She's
Yeah.
she's knocked down, but she's okay,
Right.
I guess. And then Butcher and Huey leave.
Because she did learn from Maeve in avoiding
Yeah.
Huey that
Yeah.
people are everyone's weakness,
Right,
even to superheroes.
right.
So.
And then there's one other scene that we didn't mention, but I want to mention it real quick, is the Deep was at a grocery store.
Oh,
After he got his gills molested.
He got a lot of chips and
Lot of-
Twinkies, by the way.
Yeah. Like Drake, he likes his chips with the dip.
Oh, man.
I saw that clip the other day, and I
what
was
does
like,
that mean?
it's so dumb. Like, I wish, like, someone could just slap him every time he says it. Like,
I like chips and guac and
yeah,
chips and
but
salsa, but like.
it was after the Raptors won the championship. It's like, I want my chips with the dip. What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
Why did I bring it up? You know why? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the Deep is at the grocery store
Yeah.
buying a bunch of junk food, like Brittany mentioned. And he's in the seafood area. He notices some. Do you want to take it away, George? Go ahead.
Yeah. He was making conversation with one of his buddies, aka
A
a
lobster.
lobster, and he's walking by a tank and he's just having this conversation with him, and he's like, I'm gonna save you. He's like,
I'll get you out of here.
I'm
Don't
gonna
worry
get you
about
out of here. And I think he expected to take the lobster live and
Yeah.
just him boil it at home, and they cut it right in front of him and he died.
And he's like, wait a minute. Aw.
So that was terrible.
Once again, his attempt to save an animal or to save
A sea.
a sea creature
Yeah.
is foiled by reality.
Humans.
Yeah.
Damn them.
Did he take the rest of the lobster or just
I don't-
left
No,
all
he
of
I
it
kind
don't
of
there
think
left
to
off
so.
die?
like that.
Yeah.
Just left off.
Yeah, I think it's like a lobster bisque
Wow.
or something. Yeah, super.
You
Yeah.
think he ate it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's why he eats all those Twinkies and chips.
It's
Right.
like cannibalism or something. Okay, now we're to the final episode, season 1, episode
Episode
8. It's called "You Found Me." George, give us the synopsis.
All right, series finale time.
Season finale.
Season finale.
Season finale, yes. Questions answered, secrets revealed, conflicts conflicted, characters exploded, and so much more.
There's a lot in this episode. This is an amazing episode,
Mm-hmm.
worthy of its own podcast, but we don't have time. So, this episode opens, and you're in a war zone. We're in a war zone, and Homelander arrives, and so they're in Syria. And so in Syria, he quote unquote discovers
The-
Compound V.
Yeah.
Right. That he discovers that terrorists are using this to create super terrorists, basically. And in the meantime, the Pentagon has classified Compound V as a controlled substance and lists the boys as fugitives. So the whole plot that they were trying to work out with Raynor completely
Did not work.
Did not work.
Kaput.
Their families are apparently protected, but they are not. They are fugitives. They're on the run,
Yeah.
and it's not looking good for the boys. They look like,
It's not looking good for anybody.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
by themselves.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Annie, taking the information was received from Huey about being a
Compound V, baby.
yeah, she talks to her mom about it. Her mom tries to deny it, and
Yeah.
eventually she admits to it.
Yeah.
And
She's furious.
yeah,
Yeah, she's pretty upset
I thought
about.
she was gonna hit her for a second.
Oh my God! Right?
She was
And we
up,
saw what she
yeah.
could do to a brick wall.
Yeah.
So, whoo,
yeah.
whoo. Poor
So
thing.
in the meantime, we go back to our guy, the Deep. He's hoping. He thinks he's going to return to the 7. He thinks he's going to get the call back up to New York City. That's not the case. The guy in
He's
Sandusky
like-
tells him
It's like pre-celebrating.
he's like, you're here, and they'll
Yeah.
let you know when they want you, but right now they don't want you.
Yep.
I feel like the Deep got like the baseball equivalent to like demoted to a AAA affiliate
Yeah.
until he's ready to come back to the main roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, so, and because of this, apparently, and because of all that's happened, being molested by this girl, which sounds funny. But
Shoes
it's
on the
not.
other foot now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the other foot.
Sorry.
But he doesn't wear shoes.
The other Gil?
Gil,
Yeah.
there you go.
The other
Good.
Finn?
We miss Nathan. We've been hearing his voice a lot in our podcast, but we
know.
can't see him because he's behind the camera.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're going to incorporate him more
Right.
into future podcasts.
We definitely will. So the deep, because he wasn't called up to the big leagues per se, he's now suffering from an emotional breakdown. He breaks down. We see him through the episode. He's like shaving his
He's
head.
cleansing himself, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Has a delicious smoothie
Delicious.
with vodka and fruit.
Right.
It's like a sangria with vodka,
It
yeah.
actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, I actually did, yeah.
A lot of good fruits and stuff in there. and
As
so,
long
yeah.
as none of his hair like fell into it, because
Yeah.
he's shaving his head, he's shaving his whole entire body, and it's just, it's a cry for help. It
Yeah.
really, honestly, it is.
calling himself names, he's definitely like getting
Yeah,
himself up.
yeah, he's
So,
really doing that. And it's not looking good for A-Train either.
No, you want to talk about that, Frank?
Yeah, so he gets racially profiled while he's not in costume,
Right.
and it's a reminder that in this world, people of minority backgrounds, just because you're a star doesn't mean that you're not that you don't suffer the same plights that others go through. So
He's also on crutches at the time.
Yeah.
Because Kamiko broke his leg viciously in the last episode.
Viciously.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Crazy. Yeah, so he's pretty upset about being treated like a nobody
Yes.
compared to being a super.
So he's hit rock bottom himself, and then he resorts back to getting back on that compound V, that good old compound V.
Yeah.
That'll work out great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his brother's not very happy about that, it
No.
seems.
No, he's not a fan of it.
No.
So now we go, the boys, this is MM and Frenchie and Kamiko, they're set up in a motel somewhere, hiding out when a team of like black ops,
Yeah.
they're not VOT people, but they work for VOT.
Yeah.
They come in, they capture them, and
I will say though, because it's a callback to like one of the earlier episodes, that when those Black Ops guys were in the van, it was like a floral type delivery.
yeah.
Butcher had made mention of that early on, saying like, I'd rather be in this kind of moving truck or whatever versus a flower thing. So it's kind of like it was. He already knew
Yeah.
like their
Right.
operations, like how they move. So
That was a good callback, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the reason why Butcher and Huey are not with them is because they're going to meet with Mallory again. Or I mean, they're going to meet with her for the first time, I guess.
Yes.
yes,
Mallory hasn't talked to Butcher in a long time. Like
good
everyone else,
reason.
Yeah.
like everyone else, she's not excited to see him.
Yeah.
poor guy.
And we learn that
He's so likable.
right. We learned that whatever happened in the past with them, it cost her grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
That
killed by
sounds-
lamplighter. They were roasted, I guess, by lamplighter.
Which is also,
roasted.
which also is a callback to earlier in the season where MM and Frenchie get into an argument because I guess Frenchie deviated from a plan to catch Kamiko, and MM brings up, well, what about that time with Mallory when you screwed up and
Yeah.
her
When you-
grandkids died?
when you don't follow the
Yeah, when you don't
plan,
follow the plan,
people
just look
die.
what happens. So it gives you an inside look of like the aftermath of what happened with Mallory and her grandkids, and then you find out. It's the first time you hear Lamplighter's name since the first episode.
Yeah.
Right.
We still don't know what happened to him, but we know that he played a part in slaughtering her grandkids.
I think the boys kill him, or something. I mean, he definitely is dead. in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll be revealed in future
Yeah, probably season
seasons.
2. So Mallory, she refuses to take part in anything, but she does tell him. She knows that Butcher is hot after Homelander. That's his whole goal is to kill
Yeah.
Homelander. So she tells him, she's like, you know what, like, he doesn't have any weaknesses, but he does care for this Madeline Stillwell. That's his actual weakness. So it's kind of like the Superman Lois Lane thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
except for reverse. Like it's
Yeah.
like Superman is in love with Lois Lane. He has no weaknesses except for kryptonite and magic and other weird things. But he's always worried about his family or Lois
Yeah.
Lane. So
Yeah.
same kind of deal. He's basically, she tells him, you get with her and you'll find out more about him. And she basically tells him, and indirectly, like, that's the person you should
Yeah.
kidnap or, kill even.
Mhm.
So at this point, Huey leaves and he's going to talk to Annie, trying to get her on board to help out. and she refuses, saying she can't trust him after what all's happened. So, the next scene is kind of a comedic scene. They're at the we're at the Vought building, and it's a party with the Stillwell's there with all of the military folks, and I guess they're celebrating this new partnership that's about to happen. And Black Noir takes over the piano, starts playing piano, which is kind of interesting because in the previous episode we saw, or one of the previous episodes we saw, that Homelander said his mom really loved playing piano. So it's kind of weird that Homelander and Black Noir would have some kind of
good point.
They
I didn't
might
catch
have
that.
some kind of future. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Brittany, you want to take over?
Oh, so just at this, party, we see Starlight, who she refuses to help Huey because she doesn't trust him for anything, and rightfully so. So she's kind of talking it up with this young, military official, and they're having a few drinks, and she kind of gets sick and runs into Maeve in the bathroom. And in the previous episode, Starlight had told Maeve that, I used to look up to you. I used to want to be you and be that superhero that helped everybody because you actually cared. And now I can see that was all marketing. That was just whatever. But Maeve turns around and basically tells Starlight, listen, I really did save these people. I really wanted to do good. Just be yourself. Don't fall into this trap of, marketing, writing everything about you. So, but other things happen too at this party that Homelander, it involves Homelander still. George?
Well, also we're introducing to the president of Vought.
Yeah.
So we
good
get to
point.
see
Gus!
We get to see Gus from Breaking Bad, as we know
I
him.
still haven't seen it.
His
I need
name
to
is
watch it.
Mr. Edgar.
Mr.
Mr.
Edgar.
Edgar.
And
He's got good news for Madeline Stillwell.
that Madeline Stillwell is going to be the one to take over after whenever he's done or
Yeah.
whenever he decides he's done.
She's the coach in waiting,
Yep.
which always works.
She's gonna move up to the 88th floor.
She's going to move up somewhere.
82nd.
Ooh.
82nd floor, yeah.
Yep.
She got a huge
82nd
promotion.
floor.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gets a huge promotion,
Yeah.
but Homelander confides something with her.
Talk about it.
Yeah, not taking. Let Justin take it on.
Just take that
So
one.
Homelander, he confesses to Stillwell that, you know what, it ain't convenient that these super terrorists kind of came along right at the right time. It's because I created them. That's what he basically said. I created these super terrorists.
He's been getting A-Train to
Right.
run the Compound V.
Right. And so she's clearly freaked out by this.
Yeah.
But her response is to have sex with him.
Because that's just what you do when you find out that
Yeah.
one of your employees has done something horribly
Create a terrorist.
bad.
And it's a weird kind of scene because she has this motherly thing over him. And she
Yeah.
definitely plays into it. And he definitely
He's into
goes
that.
for
He's
it.
into
Yeah.
it.
He's into it for
It's
sure.
very strange.
God, I'm glad I had my mommy in my life, man. That's man.
So fast
Me
forward.
too.
Yeah, that's so weird, man.
She's such a nice person.
She is.
Cheers. Moving on. So
Yeah, so the next thing we go to, Huey's trying to help Frenchie and then get, so they were captured by these black ops people, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to their secret base or whatever. Somehow Huey finds out where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And they
he
try to-
gets himself incarcerated to save them. He puts
he has a
a
retainer.
retainer,
Yeah.
but he puts a piece of metal in his retainer.
Well, that's just like the
What's
retainers
retainer?
had
Has
the
piece of
metal.
at the bottom.
True, but I think
If you
he said
wore
he-
yours, you would have
I think
known.
he said he added something to it.
No.
No?
Oh,
He
he,
just put-
he had put adhesive that way it would stick.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
why
It was so hard
eventually
to take off.
Okay.
Mother
y'all,
Milk,
y'all can explain.
and Frenchie were trying to remove the retainer from him because he used what people use for dentures
Yeah.
to poly grip or whatever, and that was a kind of a funny scene of Huey's mouth being violated by others' hands, and that sounded really bad.
But just a
That's it.
moment. They punched him in the mouth.
Yeah,
took the
yeah, and
retainer
it
out.
popped
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But Kimiko is being, I guess, injected again by Compound V. She's under some kind of drug influence, and Frenchie obviously wants to get her out of there. And there's this really big gun scene, shootout, and Huey's he gets the gun and he starts shooting at people. I'm sorry. It's really, really crazy. But then A-Train arrives.
Yep.
Who wants to talk about that? A-Train arrives.
A-Train's favorite, go ahead.
Well, so A-Train arrives and he's still injured. He's still badly injured from the fight he had with Kimiko in the first place, and he wants Huey. He wants blood. So,
Yep.
Can't remember exactly what happened, but when he wants blood, he somehow spares Huey.
Well, Starlight shows up to kind of like
Yeah.
rescue,
Okay.
and so she's kind of fighting him off, and he's using his super speed to like bypass all her light projections, whatever you call it. But because of the compound V, his heart like starts.
He has a stroke, right?
He
Yep.
has like a heart
Heart
attack.
attack.
It's a heart attack. And now it's like, oh my God, like he's gonna die. So in good faith, they try to revive him.
But
Why?
But
I mean, Huey does.
Yes.
She basically says, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let him die."
Just let him
basically.
die.
Yep.
He was like, "No, we can't do that." And so she realizes, okay, this guy's a good guy. He doesn't. This is someone who's trying to kill him, and he's trying to like revive the guy.
Yeah.
So she tells him, "Run, you
Take
get out of
off.
here.
Yeah.
I'll call it in to the ambulance or whatever. Call the paramedics, and then get out of there."
Which is a sign of good humility by him, because like normally in shows like this, when a protagonist or antagonist has their first kill, when he killed Translucent, it's easy to like
He
fall.
wanted more.
Yeah, it's easy to want more, but like kind of like Kristen Dunst in the Interview with the Vampire, when she got her first taste of blood, she just wanted more. But he went the opposite route. He was like, "No, I can't do this." Because after that murder, Translucent, I've felt nothing but tremendous guilt. So man, shout out to him, man, for having a big heart.
Yeah, but proving to her like he is a good person, obviously, and her faith, I guess, is a little bit restored
Yeah.
Yeah.
in him.
Yeah.
So
So now we get to the thrilling finale of the season. Stillwell comes home, lights are out, and she learns that Butcher is in there.
mind you, she has a baby.
Right.
A baby who was supposed to be, babysat, and that's her first concern.
And the
obviously.
sitter.
Right.
And the sitter.
Yeah.
So Butcher's there. He kidnaps her. He says, "Hey, the baby and the sitter are okay. They're upstairs. They're taking a little nap."
A little nappy nap.
Yeah. So he loads up Stillwell with explosives, and they're just waiting for Homeland to arrive because this is his lowest lane apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definite weakness.
she is Homelander bait. Right?
Yep.
Homelander arrives, and
Which is a really bad idea. Like, Homelander is super fast. He
Right.
can easily
You can
disengage.
hear everything.
I'm like, I don't think he thought this through.
He didn't.
yeah,
Probably not.
and
He didn't care though.
No.
But yeah, Butcher doesn't.
Yeah,
and
no,
Homelander
that's
calls
true.
it out. He's like,
Yeah.
"What was your plan?
Yeah.
Was your plan just to like kill her? Like?" And he's like, he basically shows that she doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because he goes, "Hey, like I went and talked to Vogelbaum about what really happened, and I think he says I squeezed the truth out of him or something."
Yeah.
Basically implies he killed
Right.
Vogelbaum.
But even Stillwell shows that while she's sitting there with these explosives attached to her,
Yeah.
she's terrified of Homelander, of now
Oh, yeah.
knowing the truth because
Right.
because before they had relations, he said to her like, "Don't lie to me. Like you need to tell me the truth and
Right.
that kind of thing." And then once again, she
lied
lied,
to him.
Yeah,
and she basically confesses to him like, "I'm terrified of you. Like I'm terrified of what you are and
Right.
what you can do."
And by that, she tells the truth for the first time. to him.
Exactly. And he's like, he's okay with that. He
Yep.
kisses her, and then he's holding her by her head and uses his laser vision to,
To nuke her.
yes,
Look at her one last time.
crazy. Absolutely crazy. And at that point, you think, okay, well, Butcher's plan is really just completely kaput.
Right.
And the Homelander had brought the baby down from upstairs,
Right.
and so the baby's in the room, and Butcher's like, okay, what else do I have to lose? So he, lets the explosives go, and
Kill that baby.
You're thinking that everyone's dead. That's what you
Yes.
think for a
Yes.
second because you see the explosion.
which is equally heartless that like you kill an innocent child. Like, how dare you?
Who, Butcher or Homelander?
Butcher.
Both.
Well, both. Honestly,
He let it happen.
Yeah, because
Homelander didn't
Homelander
care
never
about
liked
kid.
that baby.
Yeah.
Like he,
And the sitter. The
Yeah,
sitter's
the
gone
sitter
too.
too.
Yeah, she was upstairs, right?
Oh man.
So
So what happens at the very end, George? With
you get a
Stillwell's gone,
he wakes up in this like dreamlike state.
He
It
being
seemed
Homelander.
No,
Butcher.
Butcher.
No,
Oh, Butcher, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Butcher.
Sorry.
Homelander is completely fine,
He's good.
unfortunately. But Butcher wakes up in this dreamlike state, and at this point, I'm assuming it seemed like a dream because you see Homelander and he sees his wife come out, and then you see a little blonde kid come out, and it looks exactly like Homelander. And what do we know? Like he looks at him with the eyes. They do
The
the
eyes,
zoom in with
like,
the eyes light
glow.
up, and we realize that is his Homelander's son. And that is just brutal for Butcher to have him see if it's real, because I still don't know. Like, I know y'all say it's for sure happened, but it seems just so
fair.
crazy. So
Yeah.
So you think Butcher's dead? You think that's like?
no, I don't think he's dead. I just don't. It just seems like a dream or something because it seemed very dreamlike the way it was like shot and everything.
Sure.
It just looked.
I think it's
Crazy.
real, and because it would explain Becca's disappearance for 8 years. By the way, that kid is huge for being presumably 7, 8 years old. Okay, like he's a big kid. Like he's tall.
Well, he's superpowered too.
That's true. He's superpowered too, which is curious because the fact that if Homelander was a lab child who was maybe injected with Compound V, or maybe Compound V came from him, let's
Could be
say,
from his blood or something.
and then he was told he couldn't have kids, but maybe there was a reason because then that actually could be genetically passed on to his child,
yeah.
Right.
his offspring. I was going to say spawn, but that maybe Homelander is the key to all this. Like he shouldn't have kids because he projects the violent tendencies and that and what have you, but yeah, we do see that Becca has been raising this child. And Homelander's like, oh, we're a family. And, that's something that he obviously never had. It's something he maybe now wants, but then where does that leave Butcher and Becca?
And why didn't they just kill Butcher?
Exactly.
Because I know he wanted him to
Homelander
look at
wanted him to suffer.
Oh,
No, I know.
Oh yeah, you know why.
Homelander.
But then after he sees
Yeah.
that, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's he gonna
So
do?
some more.
He's just gonna let him live.
Well, that's why I'm really curious to see how season 2 opens.
Exactly.
Yes.
Where do they go from
Where do they go
there?
from
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big
Very
thing.
excited
Like
for
you,
that.
you almost have to open with that scene
Yeah.
because otherwise, like if Butcher's just like back at his apartment or something, like how does he get
Yeah.
there? You need to see that. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of explaining.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed when Butcher wakes up and he sees his wife and he sees the kid, Becca looks happy. Becca looks like she's adapted. 8 years later, she's a mother
She
now.
probably had no choice.
Yeah, but like you would think you'll see some type of like dismay, like I'm stuck in this life with a kid that I probably didn't want.
Yeah.
Unless she totally adjusted.
The
I mean,
look she gives Butcher though is pretty. It's like a pain.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
she
a
was like,
very
"Oh."
pained look.
Yeah.
Like,
Awkward.
because how do you explain to your husband whether you had an affair or you were raped or whatever? It resulted in a child, okay? A child that's not with your husband. Like, how do you go on from that? Like, just it.
I mean, Vought clearly put her like in a witness protection kind of
Oh
situation.
yeah, sure,
So,
absolutely. Because they kept it from Homelander,
Right.
and we don't know like how far she is and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
if the idea was to keep Homelander away from the family, they
Yeah.
did a damn good job at doing that because
They did.
he never did. So
Yep.
yeah.
And we did a damn good job day 2.
Yay!
Knocking out 3 episodes in 1 episode. That's amazing. We pulled it off.
Yay!
Please let us know what you think about The Boys. I can't wait for season 2.
Oh yeah.
It'll come out this summer, I assume. I think they just finished like shooting recently.
Yep.
So
Been seeing a lot on their social media
yeah.
about
Yep. So I'm looking forward to that.
the boys.
Hope you look forward to our next episode.
Yep.
We'll be back soon. I think we're going to talk about something that a lot of people enjoy.
Dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yep.
Or we're gonna explain it to
Yeah, we're going to explain
Frank
Star
over
Wars.
here
Yeah.
because
We're tackling
someone
Star
doesn't
Wars.
want to watch the movies.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. That's how we'll end this episode.
I thought I was
Sure.
Superman for a second. I was like, oh, who watched the old Superman movies? But
Oh,
then I was like, oh,
man.
okay.
That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad.
But
at
that
all.
sounds like Superman.
Sort of,
Christopher
but-
Reeve Superman.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's-
A little bit, it did.
I think
okay.
it's all John Williams.
It is John
Oh,
Williams.
okay. Yeah. I was like, oh.
It's very John Williams. So yeah.
So for everybody, we hope that you enjoy this episode. Let us know on social media what you think about it.
Use the hashtag Watchers Basement and then listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and your reviews. Let us know what you want us to do next.
Yep. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yay!